Hey there folks, welcome back to another marvelous video. Ever since Tron captured the minds of audiences all the way back in 1982, it's garnered a global following of fans that continues to grow even decades later. While Tron isn't as big as some of the more popular sci-fi franchises, it was undoubtedly one of the most revolutionary films of its time, boasting cutting-edge visual effects and a great storyline. Over the years, fans have been hungry for more Tron, but unfortunately, until 2010, we had received only 2 official Tron films in the original continuity. As fans began to lose hope in seeing another Tron movie, we received a 3rd film in the franchise titled Tron ARES, featuring Jared Leto as the lead character, ARES. While the film would tread familiar sci-fi narrative tropes and continue the Tron tradition of having absolutely stunning visuals, it would also attempt to push the franchise in a new direction, where the digital world of Grid begins to intersect with our own real world. Central to this narrative is the character of ARES, who treads the line between both worlds. He's not just a program confined to the Grid, but an agent of change, transforming the entire franchise and what we know about this fantastic world. In this video, we'll explore everything there is to know about ARES, including his dark origins, powers, visual design, and his place in the franchise. We'll leave no stone unturned, so join us, fellow users, as we enter the Grid once more to discuss Tron's latest hero and see if he's worthy enough to bear the torch for this franchise for the new generation. We're excited about this one, but before we get into things, we do have a very quick request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Origin of ARES. ARES is a sophisticated program developed within an alternate grid to the Kevin Flynn grid by Julian Dillinger, the grandson of Edward Dillinger, the original villain of the 1982 Tron film. This grid has a distinct and ominous red visual palette and an industrial feel to it. We first meet ARES when Julian presents him as an expendable super soldier to the military in order to fund his nefarious ventures. While Dillinger presented this as the origin for ARES to the rest of the world, the truth was far more sinister. Julian Dillinger had actually created ARES to find a cure to a fatal flaw in his plans to bring the Grid into the real world. You see, while Dillinger had found a way to manifest constructs from the Grid, he had yet to find a way to stabilize them, as they could last in the real world for a mere 29 minutes. The solution to this was an enigmatic code called the Permanence Code, which, as the name suggests, would make all constructs permanent in the real world. This was the purpose behind ARES' creation, to track down the Permanence Code and commit espionage on ENCOM. Motivation and goals. ARES' motivation and goals evolve drastically over the course of the film as he transforms from a manufactured, obedient tool to something that's far more self-aware and sentient in nature. As described by Julian Dillinger, he's initially the perfect soldier who doesn't disobey and doesn't ask questions. His mission is to discover the permanence code for his creator to aid him in his quest to dominate both the Grid and the real world. However, as he becomes increasingly self-aware, he begins to question his purpose. ARES is mesmerized by things he has never paid much attention to before, becoming captivated by the small wonders of the world like rain and insects. He begins to feel things that extend beyond his programming, like awe, fear, and possibly even moral conflict. This change in his self is further catalyzed by his encounter with Eve Kim, who was actually supposed to be his quarry. Because she treats him like a person rather than a disposable program, his awakening is finally complete as he rejects the notion that he must follow his coding. This change is accompanied by a change in his motivation and goals as well. After recognizing that he possesses agency over his choices and actions, ARES goes against his creator and chooses to protect life in both worlds. By embracing empathy and mercy, he becomes more human than Dillinger himself in many ways, who lacks these qualities and is focused solely on himself. Ultimately, when he does get his hand on the Permanence Code, he doesn't use it to dominate others, but instead uses it to fight Dillinger, putting an end to the villain's dreams. Even after the final battle, ARES' motivations continue to evolve further. Now that the threat of Dillinger had been dealt with and he had finally broken the shackles of his old master completely, ARES seeks to understand better this new world that he finds himself a part of. We see him holding up a picture of Quora, another being of the Grid that has transitioned to the real world before him. His goal now is to find Quora, seek answers about her journey of transition, and act as a bridge between humans and AI while the world tries to come to grips with its existence. In this way, ARES is a character with complex layers who evolves from a perfect and disposable soldier into someone who can be truly considered a person. ARES. Personality breakdown. The personality of ARES is one of the most intriguing parts of the film, as he starts off as a cold and utilitarian individual who gradually becomes more layered, emotional, and introspective. When Ares first appears, he has the personality of a wooden stool. He rarely speaks and follows orders with machine-like precision. He seems completely devoid of emotions, as reflected by his expression, which is, for the most part, neutral. There's not a shred of fear or joy within him, as he moves like someone with only one function, completing his mission. This mirrors early sci-fi tropes like the T-800 from the Terminator series. As mentioned earlier, as he interacts with the world, his motivation and goals, along with his personality, begin to shift, with the former influencing the latter. He begins to inculcate a childlike curiosity regarding everything around him, from sensations to emotions. While he was previously quiet, like an automaton, his silence is now driven by introspection as he observes and tries to make sense of things. This is echoed by Eve Kim, who states he doesn't talk much, but he sees everything. The result of this introspection is a drastic change in his personality from the way he was originally created. He begins to ask hard-hitting questions about choice, existence, and identity. Ares continues not to be loud, but when he speaks, his words are distinctly tinged with his awakened personality. He keeps his emotions under the surface, but they're clearly there. As the conflict with Dillinger intensifies, he reveals the protective side of his personality, risking his own life to save Kim and the rest of the world. Ares also displays his rebellious streak by choosing to go against the commands of his own creator. The most important development in his personality, however, is that he actively chooses to take responsibility and doesn't run from it. This is highlighted when he chooses to use the permanence code not to conquer, but to anchor himself to the world as a conscious being. Ultimately, Ares transforms into a complex person capable of choosing empathy, purpose, and freedom over control, even if it means going against his own maker. Powers and abilities. Ares, in Tron Ares, possesses a mix of classic digital powers familiar to the Tron universe, along with new advanced abilities that make him one of the most powerful programs ever created, especially once he crosses over into the real world. Disc Combat Mastery. Ares is an expert at using the iconic Identity Disc as a weapon. He shows immense proficiency in using it as a ranged and close combat weapon. One can even say that his combat techniques in this regard are at the same level as those of Tron, Clue, and Rinzler. Advanced Code Manipulation. Ares can directly interface with systems to rewrite their code in real time. He uses this to disable and override security protocols within the grid. Thanks to this ability, Ares is also able to take over vehicles and certain grid environments as well, making him a formidable foe. The most overpowered usage of this power is the ability to reform himself when damaged. If he's de-resed in combat, he can regenerate back to nearly 100% unless he's destroyed at a code level. Digital Construct Manifestation. Crossing over to the human world greatly alters Ares' abilities. As the first program to materialize into the real world using the permanence code, he remains partially digital, granting him powers far beyond that of a regular person. Unlike Quora, who becomes a fully fledged human at the end of Legacy, Ares is still a synthetic being. He can tap into the grid at his will and bring out constructs to use in the real world as and when it suits him. Enhanced Physical Attributes. Ares' strength is far beyond that of a normal human, as he can punch through steel and lift heavy debris effortlessly. He's also able to move at speeds akin to a super soldier like Captain America. Ares also possesses immense durability, as we see him practically unfazed by bullets, flames, and explosions. If this wasn't enough, he also possesses a remarkable healing factor that allows him to overcome damage faster than any human. Character Design Analysis. The visual aesthetics for Ares inherits the visual DNA of the Tron franchise with some minor divergences. Most notably, the costume, armor, and suit design retain this philosophy because in Tron, these elements are an important part of a character's identity. Ares wears a glowing circuit-lined bodysuit, much like other programs in the Tron world. The glow is more industrial, often accented red, as opposed to the cooler, bluer tones often used for heroic programs. The suit design seems more angular and perhaps harsher than in Legacy. Sharper lines, probably a mix of rigid and flexible textures, suggest both strength and technological precision. The major design divergence has to be in the shape of his identity disc, which is triangular in shape, rather than the traditional circular design. There are still round identity discs in the film, but we're told that the triangle identity disc is far superior. This means the change is not just cosmetic in nature. Outside of its form and function, this disc also helps set his character apart from the rest of the cast. One of the most visually striking evolutions in his appearance is that as he becomes increasingly self-aware, the red accents in his suit become progressively more muted. This highlights his transition from a tool of evil to someone with his own agency that fights against it. In this way, the visual character design of Ares keeps up the traditions of Tron while adding its own subtlety to elevate the character and bring freshness to the entire project. Marvelous verdict! Ultimately, we can conclude that ARES is more than just the title character of Tron ARES. He's a symbol of evolution, conflict, and identity at the intersection of two worlds. In this video, we explored how he was born as a tool, designed for obedience and control, but transcends his programming to become something far more profound, a self-aware being capable of choice, empathy, and moral agency. His journey from a sleek, glowing enforcer in the digital grid to a thoughtful, independent entity in the real world mirrors the film's central theme, the collision between artificial constructs and human existence. Through ARES, the Tron universe explores what it means to be alive, not just in body, but in spirit and will. Every design choice, from color to motion, reflects his transformation from code to consciousness. We learned that, in the end, ARES is not just a new kind of program, he's a new kind of person. His rejection of control, embrace of morality, and quiet departure from the spotlight mark him as the most human character in a world built by machines. Despite the film's detractors calling him an inert character, we think he's far more complex. He not only changes the system, but also redefines what it means to exist within it. Unfortunately, that's all we got for you this time, but we hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, be sure to check out the rest of our channel where we post daily videos featuring all of your favorite movies, animes, and TV shows. And if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. For now, though, it's time for us to say goodbye. Thanks for sticking with us right to the end of this one, and we hope to see you soon in the next. Until then, stay safe and stay marvelous.